Joining me now to discuss, founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, Jamil Jaffer. Always great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Laura.
All right, so this G7 meeting comes just after President Trump said he'll add 10% tariffs on Canadian goods, right? This is over this anti-tariff advertisement featuring Ronald Reagan. Let's listen to a moment this week when Trump acknowledged Americans are paying more because of tariffs, but also making gains they may not realize.
Agree then that Americans are paying those tariffs?
I think, no, I don't agree. I think that they might be paying something, but when you take the overall impact, the Americans are gaining tremendously. They're gaining through national security. Look, I'm ending war because of these tariffs. Americans would have to fight in some of these wars. They're gaining in national security. They're gaining in economics. They're gaining in so many different ways. And they're gaining in self-respect for our own country.
Okay, so when you hear that, how might that set the tone at this meeting? What do you think?
Well, there's no doubt that President Trump believes that tariffs have been successful. And at some level, we haven't seen the kind of price increases we would have expected with the tariffs because some of the producers have, in fact, absorbed those costs. We'll see if in the long run that actually continues to play out. It may be that the tariffs are actually a lagging indicator of price increases in America. But thus far, it is probably accurate that the U.S. has gained more in terms of revenue for those tariffs than consumers have paid, although prices are increasing. So we'll see how this plays out. But it will shape the conversation because of the new imposition of tariffs on Canada as a result of that ad.
I'm sure so many people are watching this very closely. You know, what do you think the key issues Secretary Rubio is expected to raise at this meeting, number one? And do you see this trip as an effort to repair strained ties with Canada or show a little leverage here?
Well, look, I think we're going to have the entire G7 there, so all the world's largest advanced economies. We'll have a number of other countries there as well, including Saudi Arabia and other expanding economies. And so the question becomes, how can Secretary Rubio bring those folks together, identifies the ways to move forward on trade and tariffs? We saw the president go to China, do what he argues is a strong deal with China. We'll see how it plays out. But he also signed important deals with Japan, with South Korea, with Thailand and Malaysia. So this may be an opportunity for Secretary Rubio to do similar deals with some of these countries that are coming as part of the G7 plus at this meeting in Niagara.
Right. I was just going to ask you about that because Russia's foreign minister says he's ready to meet with Secretary Rubio. So how likely is that meeting? And could it really signal real progress towards peace in Ukraine, you know, given that President Trump and President Putin's meeting made no real progress? People were hoping for it, but maybe we'll see some traction here, right?
Well, look, Laura, I mean, the challenge here is that President Putin has been unwilling to try and do a deal. President Trump has repeatedly made clear he wants to end the war in Ukraine. He's willing to sort of do a deal the Ukrainians don't really want, which is to allow Russia to keep some of the territory. Putin has sort of strung President Trump along for the better part of 10, 11 months. So if a deal's to be had, Putin's got to come to the table and make a real deal and end these brutal attacks on Kyiv and civilians in Ukraine. It's not going to be a deal that's good for Ukraine, probably not a good deal that's good for our NATO allies. But at the end of the day, if we want that war to end, Putin's got to play, and he has not been willing to play yet. That has led President Trump to push back and be more supportive of Ukrainians, not fully supportive yet. But if, in fact, that happens, it could change the war against Putin in a big way. But President Trump would have to make a big move. We haven't seen him ready to do that quite yet.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you about these new tariffs on China that are dropping from 20% to 10%. That starts tomorrow. This is what the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, said this morning about how that deal was reached. Let's listen.
He got the Chinese to the table to negotiate on stopping the precursors for fentanyl drugs. If fentanyl, hundreds of thousands of Americans dying every year, is not an emergency, what is? On October 8th, Chinese threatened to put export controls on rare earth materials. He was able to threaten 100% tariffs, and we were able to negotiate that away.
Okay, so what is your reaction to how Trump is handling China and which sectors might feel the impact first? Because there's obviously a very long list. People are trying to understand where this is going to hit.
Well, this is an interesting question. The president has increased tariffs on China in response to what they did on rare earths. He's now brought that down, apparently with the rare earths deal, but it demonstrates how addicted we are to critical minerals and rare earths from China. We've got to break that addiction. That's why the deal with Japan, with Malaysia, and with Thailand is so important, that we're getting more people in the critical minerals game. We need to do more of that here in the United States. And then on top of that, the other thing we have to keep in mind is that, President Trump has gotten a deal done with China, but we've seen deals with China before on fentanyl. They've simply not held up their part of the bargain. Tens of thousands of Americans a year die from Chinese fentanyl. We've got to stop that flow. If this deal does that, that's great. But the Chinese regularly back out of these deals. They pretend, they fake. And that is part of the thing. You can't trust President Xi, just like you can't trust Vladimir Putin. President Trump is starting to learn that with Putin. He may have to learn that lesson with Xi. We'll see. If this works, that's great. It's highly unlikely, though. I don't see China really backing down on what they're doing with fentanyl or their threats against us on rare earths. They'll leverage again later, and we'll pay the price again, which is why we've got to free ourselves from that addiction.
All right. Well, we definitely want to have you back after the G7 to talk about the results. The National Security Institute's Jamil Jaffer. Thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate you.